So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all shirts all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do that.
We're not sluts.
We just love love. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mrs. Adam.
And this is Mr. Adam.
And we're here with another episode of By the By.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yes. And we have a guest this week. We told you last week that she was going to be here.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Sorry. Ruined it for you.
Yeah. We have the illustrious, sexy, beautiful, smart,
And tall.
MisJif.
Oh, please.
She's tall in spirit.
She is tall in spirit. She's tall in Oompa Loompa land.
Oh, shucks. You're all full of compliments, aren't you?
I know, right? Hey, I called you illustrious. I'm not even sure I know what that means.
Well, it's nice being here, that's for sure.
All good, yes.
Yes. So MisJif is the other partner of ours with the Sex Ed in the City adventure. And so we wanted to take an episode and introduce you to her and let you learn a bit more and hear from her own mouth what she does and who she is.
We're going to call her the brains of the outfit.
I doubt it.
The passion of the outfit. Yeah.
The chatterbox of the outfit, really.
There you go. Yeah, good luck getting a word in edgewise. This is our podcast.
Okay, I'll behave.
No, don't do that.
No, there's
That's
no
not
point
fun.
in
Yeah. So, MisJif, you define yourself as a sex educator and a therapist, and in some cases a presenter. What made you choose that path? Because it's a bit varied, but yet specialized at the same time.
You know, I think I had two worlds collide. I think the adult education, I was always an adult educator in the corporate world. And I think there was a point in my life where I had that aha moment that said my really restricted, sexually repressed upbringing kind of just got to me. And I thought, wow, there's got to be more to sex than, you know, my role as the woman that's supposed to procreate. And so I really started to discover what sex was all about. And I think that's when I just went, wow, I need to tell the world about this. And really, I haven't stopped talking since.
I love it. Wait, so approximately what age were you?
You know what? I think I was probably in my late teens before I figured out there's got to be more to the role of who I am and what society, what generations tell you you're supposed to be, to really what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be. I think it really formed probably in my late 20s, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that when you started thinking about combining the sexuality with the adult education, or how did that transition happen?
You know, I went to a sex ed class just on my own one day. I just went, wow, I was walking past a store and went, this is it, I've got to go. And I went on my own, and it was a real eye-opener, really. And I thought, man, there's so much to learn that I didn't know. And that was really piqued my interest, I think.
So wait, what was the class on? Do you remember?
Yes. It was a bondage class.
Of course.
And it was a really cool class because they used Glad wrap or cling film, and they used just about everything. Everything that you could find around the house was really about, and it was...
That's awesome.
It was a bit of a shock, but it was cool.
It's not Tupperware. It's not just for leftovers anymore.
Nope.
That's fantastic. So, how does one become a sex educator? Because I know when I took the "What color is your parachute?" Test. Do you know what that?
No.
Are you familiar? Okay, so in the States, it was very common to take this test called "What color is your parachute?" And you basically answer 1,000 questions, and it says this is what job you should be.
Right. And they're all normal jobs, like, you know, teachers and policemen and whatever. And like sex educator never comes up.
Like, I know, because I tried that test
No.
over and over and over. And I never
Maybe you
got...
were just colorblind.
Maybe. But how does one, I mean, what path, how do you go about becoming a sex educator?
I think there's 3 paths that you can follow. I think there's the psychology aspect of it, there's the medical study of it, there's the life experience, and then there's just the pure, hey, you're an educator. And I think those 3 combined can give you the most amazing educator, but you don't have to. So right now I am studying the medical aspect of it because I really find that fascinating. I find that whole area, just eye-opening, really. But the psychology is probably the thing that I'm more interested in because I like to know how people tick and why does it work like that. So those few areas are the key that just kind of go, that means you can maybe get up and speak in front of everyone, or you could just be highly entertaining, really.
Yeah, I bet you're great at parties.
So this comes from my own naivety here, but can those all be combined, or multiples of them being combined in what you do, or does it have to be specifically to one area or another?
There are people out there that concentrate on a certain area. Some people will concentrate on the sexual health portion, the tantra and everything that goes with that, the psychology and all the... But I like the combination of them all. I think it's a well balanced because you never know what's going to come your way.
Yeah.
And I like to kind of know, hey, someone's approached me and they've got this question.
Well, I'm imagining it's helpful too if someone comes up to you with a problem and something like I'm gonna murder this word, but was it vaginismus? What's the you know what the word? Yeah, she's laughing at me. How do you say it?
I'm not sure what you're talking
It's
about.
the one where
Where the vagina is so tight and clamped that sometimes it's even hard to get a finger in there.
Okay, yes.
So I don't remember what that's called. Vaginismus,
Yes, okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I murdered that. I
Do you want me
apologize.
to look that up?
No, it's not important. Our listeners aren't.
It is
our
to some
listeners aren't
people.
here. But to know whether that's a physiological problem or a mental problem.
Exactly.
Or if maybe erectile dysfunction, if that's a physiological problem or is it a mental problem, because that's
Exactly.
something that's very, or pretty common out there.
And it can be both.
Yeah.
And so the point is if you've got that broad knowledge, then you can go, oh yeah, I can eliminate this or I can eliminate this,
Yeah.
and then we can kind of look into it from there. And I think that's why that balance with all of those is really important rather than just, hey, I've only got this.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm extremely jealous because I always say if I could go back to school, what I would go and study is psychology, but related to sexuality,
Yeah.
And the LGBT community, because I find that it's fascinating and the amount of pressure that is already on people, but then you add sexuality into that and how that search for people who are like you and whatnot, that longing.
Everyone wants to belong.
Exactly. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think so.
So, if I have a problem, let's say I have some sort of sexual issue, and I come to
Let's
you.
say.
Wait, you have only one problem?
I have many problems, but we're only talking about
Okay.
one. It's only an hour-long podcast. But let's say somebody has a problem. Is that better?
Yes.
Someone has a problem, and they go to a sex educator or a sex therapist with that problem. So, what is like the most common problem? What do you stumble upon the most?
To be honest, what I stumble across the most is communication and lack of. And really, and maybe not just communication, but a depth of communication. So it's really easy to talk about the day on a superficial level. It's really easy to talk about your finances and everything on a superficial level. But really, how often do you stop and go, oh, I really didn't like this, the way we did this, or I really want to try this, or such and such did this and they told me about it, and do you know what I mean? That communication is really important, and I think the busier our lives are, the less emphasis is on that communication. I make an effort. My partner and I, we go for a walk in the evening and we talk about our desires, our whatever the case may be. We might light a candle and have a bath together if we don't go for a walk. And just making that time, as a married couple, making the time, particularly if you've got children, to have a date night or something that says, hey, let's go out for the evening and let's get rid of all the day's events and talk about everything other than children and reconnect. And that, in our busy lives, we're not making enough time for that. And I think that is one of the fundamental causes of problems, is that lack of communication or that lack of in-depth communication.
Yeah, I know we always say communication is king.
Yeah.
It is key and king, both. But, it's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone recently talking about sex. It's like, just because you schedule sex doesn't make it non-romantic.
Yeah.
You can still...
It doesn't make it less important.
Yeah, and it doesn't make it
Yeah.
less important. So I think it's sort of along the lines of taking that time and communicating and reconnecting with your partner.
Yeah.
One of the things that, let's say you do have to schedule sex. Let's say, okay, Sunday night is our sex night.
If you've
Great.
got kids and family obligations and
Absolutely.
all kinds of stuff going on, you can be very time poor, and it may be that you have to say, okay, this is important to us. It's important for us. Let's schedule a time, and if that's how we make time for it, then that's how we make time for it. It's fine.
And it's one of those things that I always say. Let's say rather than Sunday night, let's say it's Tuesday night. Tuesday night is sex night. Tuesday
I thought
morning.
Tuesday was taco day.
Oh, it is fish tacos.
Okay.
But it's one of those things that you can text your partner in the morning. Can't wait for tonight, or I saw what you were wearing today. You look beautiful. Or I'm wearing my lucky underwear, or
Absolutely.
something like that.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom during the day at work, take a quick naughty photo and send it to your partner. It's so easy to sort of build that anticipation. And just because something is scheduled doesn't mean it can't be romantic.
Because foreplay starts earlier on in the day,
Absolutely.
without a doubt.
So yeah, it's
It doesn't just happen 2 seconds before you hit the bedroom, or wherever it is you are, wherever you're planning
The
to.
kitchen table, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
kitchen table. Yeah, you might not want to eat that now. No, yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. Communication. And we've said it a lot, and it's nice to have somebody with a little bit of a background to back me up here.
We think the same for 5 seconds. That's great.
I know, right?
So there's many ways that couples do show each other that they love each other. If you had to pick one, what would you say is the most important?
I think, Mr. Adam, you touched on it, and that was doing the unexpected.
Oh.
Now, I know a couple that have been married for 50 years, and unbeknownst to them, they do the same process. He gets up early in the morning, he puts her coffee cup to one side because he leaves, but she's got all of her stuff ready, so when she wakes up, her coffee's kind of there waiting, nearly, almost. Okay, and it's just that little thing that he does that says, I acknowledge the fact that you're part of my life. And so it's really interesting that those little unexpected things sometimes become everyday things, but why not? Why not send that text message or that photo or whatever it is to kind of go, oh yeah, we're kind of still together. We connect. And if you leave that coffee cup out, great. Text message them later and go, oh, I hope you enjoy your cup of coffee this morning. I'm thinking of you, just something to take it to a different level that's not, okay, yeah, I've rushed out the door because I'm running late for work.
I like that. I think that's a great idea as well, because, admittedly, when she asked the question, I was thinking back to one of our podcasts that we did, the 5 love languages. So I was expecting something like that.
Oh.
But I think that is even better, because you can still do something unexpected no matter which love language your partner speaks. You can, if it's verbal, you can say something to them at a random time. It doesn't have to be at we're sitting at dinner, oh, this was a great dinner.
Yes.
Why, thank you, kind of thing. Or you can do something for them out of the blue. Or you can just surprise them with time. You could come by and do coffee with them at work, or a surprise lunch. It's give them a surprise gift, and I don't remember the 5th one.
Yeah, but nobody, I'm not saying surprise gifts and flowers aren't good, but you're right, that time and effort and acknowledging it when you're receiving it. Acknowledging it is really important as well, because otherwise the other person feels crummy, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to stop doing it. But just, taking that time makes the other person feel special, and who doesn't want to feel special?
One of my favorite things to do, and we don't do it in Australia because dryers are hard to come by, but one of the things I loved doing was, if she gets in the shower, you sneak in, steal her towel. As soon as she gets in, you throw it in the dryer. Get it nice and warm. That way, the second you hear the shower go off, you run, get the towel, and then you're waiting for her or him as they're stepping out of the shower with a nice warm towel. That's something that, that's going to win you points.
It is all day.
Yeah, and they'll be thinking about it all day, and it's great. It's little things that you can do, because that doesn't take much effort. It just takes a little bit of planning.
Exactly. Exactly. But as you say, then the acknowledgement on the other side that says, "Wow, that's so sweet. Thank you for that."
Yes.
Yes, she might put out later, but that's okay. That's an added benefit.
Yeah, it's it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's it's a blue chip stock, not a get rich quick.
Keep working on.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you work with singles too? Because we've been talking a lot about couples and how couples, interact, but what about singles?
Absolutely. There's two sides to that question. I think, first of all, in regard to coming to a class, it doesn't matter whether you're a single or a couple. So it's a different conversation to have when you get your partner to come along. I know the first time that I went to a sex ed class, the conversation that I had when I then took a partner along the second time was completely different, and it started a different level of conversation. So there's no reason why you couldn't come as a single, but I just think when you come as a couple, it changes the dynamic in that conversation. We welcome anyone. It doesn't matter who wants to come, if you want to come as a single or as a couple. But let's face it, we've got a cock and ball massage course coming up now. If a woman turned to her man or other man and said, "Hey, I want to go to a cock and ball massage class. Do you want to come?" Of course they're going to say yes, right? Choose the class wisely and you're bound to get company come with you. But yeah, we open the doors to absolutely anyone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than
I feel like I'm in a test.
It is. Yes, you're doing quite well.
So other than the sex therapy that you normally do and the education and the sex ed in the city classes, what other work do you do?
Real work?
Because you work with a nonprofit, don't you?
I do. I volunteer for a charity called Touching Base. Mm-hmm. They connect people with disability with sex workers. And I find that fascinating and humbling all at the same time. And it's a whole new side to me that I didn't know existed. It's amazing to actually volunteer for something rather than always wanting to do paid work. It's so rewarding. And to actually speak to people in that industry you're always learning something. You're learning about life, you're learning about behaviors, or you're learning about the psychology of absolutely everything. But, it's just nice to be involved in something like that, really.
That's cool. So they facilitate people with disabilities meeting the sex workers, correct?
Yes.
So what are the ages of the sex workers? Are they all ages, all kinds?
You know what? I think so. I think they can range from, what's the legal age? 16, 18, whatever the age is.
I have no idea what the legal age is in Australia.
That is bad. To 60 odd. So you can be any age to be part of that.
That's really, I think it's a great charity because it's interesting. It's interesting work, I'm sure, but at the same time, it's that everybody needs somebody.
Do you know what? I think what got me into that was that it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone likes the sense of touch.
Yes.
And sometimes when you've got a disability, the only touch you have is that medical kind of touch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're poked and prodded from a medical perspective. But wow, wouldn't it be nice to have the touch of someone who actually wants to have show you some sort of intimacy or some sort of something that's not on the medical aspect. And it's not always about sex, because that's not what it's all about. But sometimes it's just exactly that. sometimes you just need a cuddle from someone else that, or that intimate time with someone that you may not be able to get anywhere else. So I think touching base was a fantastic option to kind of marry those two things together.
That's cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that definitely seems like it would go very well hand in hand with the sex education, for sure. Yeah.
So, as a sex educator, thinking back, is there something that you wish that you had, if you could talk to, 13, 14, 15-year-old MisJif,
Yes.
is there advice you would give her?
Yes, she would first of all put her hand up in sex ed classes because it was a private school, and she would ask different questions without a doubt. I think as a young girl, you absorb whatever information came your way. Now remember, this was well and truly before technology. There was no Google, there was no anything. So there was no information
For the record,
at your
I remember
fingertips.
those times as well.
Exactly. So that information was not at your fingertips. So whatever was given to you, whatever social norms were given to you, you just took. That was it. And we were watching something the other day. The presenter was really accurate in the fact that sex ed classes once upon a time, for men, you could talk about, the young boys, you could talk about anything. You could talk about erections, you could talk about, wet dreams, you could talk about all those things. But for girls, there was pretty much all the reproductive stuff and whatever happened there. And then there was nothing between
And
all that
pregnancy.
area and the
Yeah.
knees, and
Yeah.
nothing in
Yeah.
between was ever spoken about. So, as my young pre-adolescent girl, yes, I would put my hand up and go, well, hang on a minute, there must be more to it than,
Then pregnancy and periods.
Yeah.
damn it, there has to be.
Because we weren't taught about, we were taught, like you said, about all, the reproductive stuff and pregnancy and periods and
Exactly.
unwanted
And unwanted
pregnancies. Not
Yeah.
pregnancy, but unwanted pregnancies.
Yes.
So everything was in a negative light. There was no, here's the good thing about being a woman. This is how you can enjoy it.
No.
There was none of that.
Nothing. And I think then you fall into the trap that it gets passed on from generation
Yeah.
to generation. So
And
then
that's if you get anything, I guess, at all.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
that's true. So then really as the grown-up, yes, you want to say to yourself, I need to question what I learned as when I was 13 in school and go, there had to be more to it than that, surely. Until you stumble across your first sexual experience and you go, oh, hang on, they should have told me more.
So,
Why didn't they tell me more?
how old were you at your first sexual experience?
Well, it depends on what you define. You know what? I was in my teens. Yes.
That's okay. Some of us were in our 20s. Some of us are late bloomers.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I am. So were your first sexual experiences, would you consider them good?
No, gosh, no.
I love that.
Was there anything positive
Gosh,
about
no.
them?
You know what? I don't know. I'm sure
Were you
that all
fumbling
these-
in the dark?
Probably, I would say so too. I think that the basis of what I did for so many years is what I got in that first year or two of being a teenager. Whatever information you could get, whether it's friends, huddling around and giving you these weird stories about, boys look like this and whatever. And they have weird stuff that comes out, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, it's...
So I just want to
I would say
say,
disastrous.
as a side note, you laugh about that, but I remember a story this is absolutely true. Young Mr. Adam in 6th grade, we had already had our sex education class, and so of course because of that, all the boys are outside standing talking about what they learned in sex education class, and one boy stands up very proudly and says he knows how to get a woman pregnant.
Excellent.
And I'm like, awesome. And so, all us other boys are like, oh my God, how do you know? I saw my daddy do it. Oh my God. And so, oh my God, you saw your parents do it? Gross. What was he doing? He goes, the way you get a woman pregnant is you stand over her and pee on her belly button.
Excellent. I love it.
And that's how you get pregnant. And so I've tried that multiple times, and all I ever get is slapped. But no, it's funny. You look at that. That was after our sex education class. We had a week of sex ed, and
A week?
yeah.
I think we had an hour.
Well, it was an hour a day for a week.
For a week, yeah.
And they had to split the girls and boys up, and you have to tell the girls all the scary things, and you have to watch the little fuzzy rabbit gets hair where he doesn't have hair
And there's
anymore.
there's another fundamental thing that you just touched on. The fact that they did split the boys and girls up.
Oh, always.
That kills
Yeah.
me. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to know what goes on with the other sex?
That's right. And so that's why when
You all
when
are
you asked
monsters
me
anyway.
and that's why when you asked me about whether you as a single whether you can or cannot come to the class or not, absolutely, but it's lovely that everyone can be privy to the same information, and it really needs to start from that first sex ed class that you do at school. It's actually, I think, called body awareness now, or body science, or something or other like that.
Of course it is.
Changed
Is
to
that
be
because
more
you can't say
politically
the
correct.
S word in school?
Nobody says the S word.
It's a dirty word.
It is funny you think about that. It's, and talking about singles coming to a class or whatnot. I think about the first class that first class for me as an adult that I ever went to was the one at our secret spot, the first one that you gave, which was cock and ball massage.
Which is happening again.
Yay!
Friday, March 31st. And she and I went, honestly, to be supportive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Both of us went, we know this. I mean, both of us have juggled enough balls. We've had enough balls in the air at some point or another that we don't need anybody telling us how to massage a cock.
This
But we
woman
thought-
sucks.
Because we didn't know anything about you.
No.
But we heard the subject matter and whatever. We'll see. We'll go and be supportive.
But we
We'll see.
thought that the sex ed classes were a good
Great
idea.
idea.
And so we're like, well, let's go check it out, see how it is, and see how we can support it.
And the
Yeah.
first thing, you go through your tools, your 15 techniques. And I gotta be honest, there was a couple of them I was like, no, nobody does that. Nobody's gonna do that. And of course, I get home with this one and she's like, let's try that. And she does, and I'm like, holy shit. So it goes back to this whole long story is just to sort of build on the fact that we assume that we know ourselves. Mm-hmm. And in fact, and I know just for me personally, the way I masturbate is always the same.
Yes.
I don't change.
Yes.
I do the one thing, it works for me, I enjoy it, it's a get the job done kind of technique, and then you move on. So with a partner...
But you can mix it up and you can make it more fun and do different things and
it tends to last longer.
and you get surprised.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's...
And you're right, and it takes them by surprise. A new technique will add an element of surprise, but it will take something in a different path that you didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to the, even you need to know yourself, you need to know your partner's body, but that, I guess what I'm trying to culminate and say is like, even the children, it's like we don't tell boys what girls look like, we don't tell girls what boys look like, but it's kind of important to understand both yourself and your partner's anatomy.
And I think in relation to that, there are two things, if I can remember them now out of my head. The first thing is that sometimes you have that story that what I'm experiencing is the same as what everybody else is experiencing.
Yeah.
Until you get to a class or somewhere like that and you go, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not. Or maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. So I think in that respect, it's amazing. And, that's right. That's what I was thinking. So, yes, you say that you may masturbate the same all the time. Mm-hmm. When you come to a class and, as you say, you experience those 1 or 2 or 3 new techniques, the other person really needs to be open to go, yeah, let's give that a go.
Right.
Because otherwise that just defeated the purpose of all that excitement that you wanted to try it.
Well, but both of you have to. It's not just if it is a cock and ball. If it is a cock, well, I was gonna say a masturbation class, but that doesn't make sense. If it is a cock and ball class, you have to be, the male has to be just as receiving or open to the idea of receiving as the female is of giving, or male, whatever your partner gender is. So.
And I will say that there's times where I'll mix it up with Mr. Adam and do different techniques, from time to time. Pull one of your 15 different techniques out of the bag every 3 months, something that, it's been shoved away for a while. Oh, we haven't done this in ages. Let me try it. And it's interesting because then he reacts differently to me. So then I get a different experience, especially if we're in like a 69 or kind of a reciprocal position. Then I'll get something different from it because it's different for him. And so then he's reacting differently. And that kind of makes it a little more fun too.
Yeah.
And you're out of that rut.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is not a mechanical task anymore.
Yeah. And I'll admit, I've had sexual partners where it was a mechanical thing. You ride the mechanical bull for 45 seconds to,
Wow, that long.
I know, right? and then you hop off, you wipe down the saddle, and you go to sleep. But it's better to be open and responsive to new stuff.
And I think that our classes they start a different conversation. So you might come and you go, I know 90% of this, but at the end of it, so what? So you get another 10%? I doubt it's only 10%, but you get to exchange ideas with other people as well.
Yeah.
That whole, generate ideas around a circle and come up with, hey, yeah, I do this way, or I do this way, is a real cool way to end the class as well.
And it's also good that, it's a great catalyst for a conversation. So you may know 100%. Let's say you're a frequent flyer.
I want to talk to that person.
And they know everything that you've said, but it's still a good, there's no guarantee that their partner knows everything that you've said. And it's a good catalyst for conversation for them to talk about it on the way home, the next morning, about what did you think about the class? What did you like? What didn't you like? What do you want to try? So on and so forth.
And it doesn't mean just, and I don't know that there's anyone out there who does, but if you do know everything there is to know about a topic, that doesn't mean that you use it and that you can share it with your partner or partners very well and consistently.
Exactly. And so sometimes coming to the class breaks down that barrier that says, I don't have the confidence to talk about everything that I want to speak about, but come to the class and that will begin that process.
Yeah.
And I think that works for a lot of people that walk in that door.
I agree. I tend to agree. So there are multiple sex educators in Sydney. What makes, A, what makes you, and then B, what makes the sex ed in the city, what makes that different? How do you stand out? How do we stand out?
I think we stand out in 3 ways, I would say. I think the fact that we have that conversation and we are fortunate enough to have the 2 of you to demo is really important, because people get that aha moment. They get that, wow, now that makes sense. I can see it. And I think the other part to that is that anyone can walk in that door, and it can be anyone from in their 20s to in their 60s, and we have a whole demographic of any sexual interest that we can now have a different conversation with. And so I think those 3 things, the content, the 2 of you, your live demo, anyone that comes along, really just makes that balance, takes it to a new level. It makes it awesome. Not many people have that. I would say no one has all 3 components.
It's, I will say the people
it's fun.
It's fun.
It
the
is
people
fun.
we've talked to have always been very positive and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from the community after our classes.
And it can be really high energy too.
I was gonna say, and a lot of it comes from the people in the class, the ones who are attending it.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of great people that come, and some people are more interactive than others, different personalities, that's fine. But it's interesting to have that interaction with people and to be able to talk to them. It's not just, MisJif doesn't just stand up and talk at them. It's interactive. You talk with them, you present the information, and we get that immediate feedback from people, and you get to kind of see their personalities come through during the class and before the class when we talk to them and afterwards. And it's fun to interact with people on a different level that way. And for everyone to be in an environment where they're comfortable
And
to
I
talk
th-
about things.
And you're right, because the environment that we're in right now is a very safe and non-sterile kind of environment. Does that make sense? It's not like you go down to one of the public rooms and you have a class down there and it's very sterile and it's, you
Yeah.
know, it's really...
Fluorescent lights. and-
Yeah, so true. And one's flickering in the
Yeah,
corner. Yeah. But it's just that kind of environment. And I think the people that walk in the door, regardless of how frightened they may or might not be to walk in the door, it's just such a relaxed, fun, and high energy environment that everyone goes, yeah, why? Let's be part of it. I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they open up as the, you know, probably not in the first 10, 15 minutes if you're really kind of closed, but I would say by halfway in the class, people are kind of relaxing, going, oh yeah, this is really cool, and now I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and just to touch on that, one of the things that I like to do before we start the class is ask how many people are new, who are first timers here at Our Secret Spot, which I think we've already said this, but we host the classes at Our Secret Spot. But I would say at least a third of the people, and there's been a couple times it's been 3/4 of the folks
Yes.
were
Yep.
first timers. And you're absolutely right, though. By the end of it, they're a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
They had never been to the club before, but they see that it's not something to be scared of.
You know, it's not. I think why I chose and I enjoy going to Our Secret Spot is because, you know, when I met Lawrence, he had this, and even his partner, they have this vision that with good communication, you can take your relationship to a whole new level. And, you know, they're such a sex positive kind of place that it's not like I come to a class, I throw my keys in a bowl and I have to be naked and sit in the class.
Right.
It's not like that. It's, you know, the fact is it's just a nice, relaxing, warm kind of place to be. Sometimes a little too warm, but that's okay.
But we have air conditioning and fans now.
Yeah.
No,
and we're getting into winter.
you know, and I tend to agree. You know, that's one of the things that it's why we have really been. I mean, anybody who listens to the podcast hears OSS or Our Secret Spot probably every podcast.
Yeah.
Only because it's the quality of both the people who work there and
Yes.
the two proprietors, the people who work there,
Their staff.
and then their clientele. You know, it's all this. It's warm and welcoming and open and non-threatening,
Accepting.
and it's really inviting. Would be the word I would use, probably to sum them all up.
Yes.
And that's one of the things we
Absolutely.
really, really like about it. You go in with an open, positive attitude, and you'll never get any issues at all.
And if you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's, you know, in a swingers club,
Yeah.
then, you know, the misconception's wrong, really.
Yeah, it's absolutely
It's a
wrong.
room.
You need to do
Well,
the research. Do research.
And also, the classes are held before the club opens.
Yeah, the club's actually
And
closed.
so yeah, the club is closed during time. So the class is the only thing going on in there, and it's set up that way so that if you want to stay afterwards, especially if it's your first time or you just want to check things out, you know, you're already there. It's fine. If you're a regular and you want to stay, that's fine. But if you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to. You
No.
know, you can, when the class is over, the club is opening, so you can absolutely leave. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of curious, stay a bit, check it out, talk to people a little more, you know?
Now, we won't object, though, if you want to wear your really nice lingerie or you want to just kind of dress sexy for the evening, that's okay.
That's
We're not
usually
going to
just the
know
three of
that.
us.
Yeah.
That's normally just the three of us.
This is very true.
But most people are there in jeans or a cocktail
Workwear.
dress or
Exactly.
workwear
Yeah.
or whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple of polos, a couple of button-up, a couple of lumberjack shirts. Grr. What? I can't help it. I like the lumberjacks. So, in your opinion, what is like that secret ingredient that makes a good class great?
I think it's like life. I think you have to come in with a good sense of humor and just be easygoing and willing to kind of take whatever comes your way. And really, if you just sit back and relax and even participate, not just sit back and enjoy the ride, I think the class can be a very good class. And as you say, there's always something to learn. without a doubt. And so, if you're open-minded enough to go, oh yeah, I didn't know everything about cock and ball massage or whatever the topic is. I didn't know where I thought the G-spot was, and this, whatever it was, at 6 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. Whatever the case may be. Do you know what I mean? I think that's important.
Yeah. I would tend to agree. I also love the fact that you just compared a sex ed class to life. You're an artistic beauty.
But it's true.
No, I think you're spot on. It's attitude. What it all boils down to is your attitude. If you go into any situation, be it life, the first day of school, be it your local shop, be it a sex ed class or a swingers club or a restaurant. If you go in with a positive attitude and expecting, most things are going to be all right and fun and good, it is going to be that.
It's going to be
But
good.
if you go in looking for problems, you're absolutely going to look for, you're going to find problems. And that always, one of my long-time things I used to say my previous life, I traveled 90% of the time. So spending that much time in airplanes and airports and hotels, you quickly learn that people are mirrors. And if you walk up to somebody and you smile at them, they're going to smile back. But if you look at them and just kind of frown, you're not going to get a response.
That's true.
And I used to do that. That used to be a game that I would play to keep myself sane in airports. Is you would walk, not the crazy Hannibal
You want the
Lecter
crazy
smile.
dude that go, hello.
No, I wasn't that guy. And I wasn't doing the Hannibal Lecter smile, but you just friendly smile at people, and you would always get smiles back. And that's something that I wish more people realized.
It's always interesting too, because I'll do it sometimes on the bus or the train when I'm commuting to work, and you'll see people, in the morning going to work, and they're kind of all uptight, and you just kind of smile at them, and they're just kind of like, they'll smile back, and their shoulders relax, and
you can see a physical response. It's amazing.
But we're conditioned as adults, whereas if a little child was waving to you, you'd go, oh, I can wave back.
Yeah, exactly.
And you feel really good.
And I would love to know where that changes in us, because you're spot on. Because every child on the bus that waves at me, and even when I'm on the bus and cars go by and the kids wave, I always wave right back and I smile at them, because I think that's something that should be encouraged.
And your mood has just lifted.
I'm generally a happy guy. Generally. And it's not the alcohol, it's life. Okay. We did a little bit of spoiler alert last week on the podcast, and we talked that you might be the creative genius behind some of our blogs that we've yet to release for Sex Ed in the City. But one of the ones that still sticks in my head is you said something like 101 things you can do with a coconut, which we're excited about. And we're still promising people that will be one of the emailers and blog posts that if you don't have at least 5 things to do with a coconut, we promise 101.
Okay, 5 is good.
But
okay,
if you can
do 5.
if you can do
sure.
5, or maybe, I don't know, maybe 10% of 101, so 10.1. Good luck on that 0.1. But without giving away too much of other things that you're sort of planning and thinking about, what other blog topics would you like to touch on?
What can people look forward to?
I think right now there are a few blogs that I'm really interested in. And it's a buzzword right now amongst my circle of friends, but it's that whole compersion thing. And
I know, right? That's one of my words.
okay, you must be one of my friends. Okay,
I must be.
Anybody who knows that word is my friend. But seriously, that and jealousy, and I think those two, there's a misconception out there of what it is, and to me, I see that as the same as, when your child just giggles uncontrollably as a mother and you go, I'm so happy for them.
Yes.
Then it's that same kind of thing. And so I really wanted to touch on really that whole compersion thing and how that works in a relationship. I think it's critical.
So, as a side note, anybody who's listening who has no idea what the word compersion is, I will admit, if you look it up, if you look it up, you might actually have difficulty finding the definition for it. It is a relatively new word that I'm not actually sure that is in the Oxford English Dictionary yet.
We should ring them.
But we should totally fucking ring them. I know it's on Urban Dictionary and in a couple of other places, but it is the
buzzword.
The buzzword, especially amongst the sex and swinger community. That is the flip side of the coin to jealousy. So jealousy is the negative feeling that you get. Compersion is the positive feeling that you get from that same sort of emotion. And always the way I like to explain it to my friends who have no idea what I mean is if you're at a bar and your partner goes up to the bar and you notice that someone is checking your partner out, jealousy is, hey, that's my partner.
Yeah.
That's what the jealousy is. Whereas if your partner goes to the bar and you see someone checking your partner out and you go, hey, that's my partner.
Exactly.
That's compersion. So it comes from the same place. It's just handled in a different way.
It's that whole positive negative
Yeah.
again.
The yin yang of
of how you
emotions.
do with things.
Yeah.
I think that another blog that I was thinking was that whole moral compass, and it's really important to me because from generation to generation we've had that this is what your role should be.
Yeah.
And particularly with my upbringing, your role is sex definitely wasn't for enjoyment. Your role was the female, you were the child bearer, and that was it.
You're basically a drug mule for 9 months out of the year and then a meal ticket for the rest of the 18 years.
I failed at my job.
But so really it's about, and then came the, all of our grandparents have lived through all of those traditional roles.
Right.
Then came the 60s and the whole women's, just the whole contraception, the women's movement, everything that happened, and then sexuality changed and the whole sexual revolution. And I think to explore that would be very interesting. And I think another topic that I really want to look at is I'd like to call maybe beyond the condom, because there's a lot to health and safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is not just about condoms. It goes down to, how clean your fingers are. It goes down to absolutely everything. And I'm hoping that would actually be a humorous side to all of that in the end. Because
it's a humorous side as to how dirty your fingers are.
I can actually think of a few puns to go into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's so true, but really, it's me. I'm a clean freak, and so there's more to being healthy than just using a condom, really.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
So those
there's
are-
a few there.
Those are I'm excited now.
Yeah.
Now I want to fucking read them. So get to writing, woman. No.
Okay.
So we'll be working on those, and when I say we, it's the royal we. MisJif will be working on those, and we'll get those posted as they come, pun intended.
Without a doubt.
Somebody's having trouble sitting still over there. Okay. So it wouldn't be by the by if we didn't ask this question.
Okay.
So you walk into a cocktail party. You're in your nice little dress that we've seen that's backless.
Boobs hanging out.
There's always one.
Boobs are hanging
Yeah.
out. Yeah, no. We've actually seen that, and you've got like 4. So you walk into a cocktail party, and there's all these men in their suits and women in their dresses.
Are they a 3-piece suit?
Three-piece
Oh,
suits
okay.
and sparkling gowns.
Yes,
But not vests,
It's not white or black tie.
Okay.
It's a formal event that's not white tie or black tie.
Because we had that discussion about vests versus
Yes.
what's it called?
Waistcoats.
Thank you.
That one's for you, Law. Who do you notice first in this cocktail scenario?
I would have to say that I'm always attracted to eyes. Eyes to me are the thing that draws me in. And I think because I read eyes, I hope I do. Actually, no, I don't. I don't always read them very well.
I think because I try to read eyes.
Because delving into people's eyes has gotten me in some unpredictable situations, but that's okay.
Well, that's another
another
podcast.
story for another day. But really, I think taking the time to look into someone's eyes and really looking into them and reading that person can help me gauge what kind of person they are. And so I don't need to have a very long conversation with them to go, yeah, that's the kind of person that I want to hang out with. And to be honest with you, if they look good and like they've well presented, they look like they've taken the time to present themselves, then I'm instantly attracted to them.
So
as well.
sex doesn't matter. It's all about the eyes.
It
And
is.
personality.
It is.
Wait, so did you notice our eyes when we first met you the first time? Now I'm wondering how long did she stare into our eyes?
I know.
Well, I noticed that Mrs. Adam was the hot, sexy portion of the duo.
Wow.
Sorry, baby.
Wow. My heart just broke a little. Yeah, see, I'm hoping we get a massive emails now that tell me how pretty I am and how people love me too, because I'm starting to feel some pain. There's a tear in my eye. Fine, yes, beautiful, sexy eyes. Fine. Anyway, and how about you? When you walk into a cocktail party, what do you see? First thing.
Breasts.
Just a good street.
Yeah.
Like, does it matter if they're attached to men or women? Like,
No.
because I'm imagining Fight Club and Meatloaf with his
Man
bros.
Man boobs.
Not like that. So I would say if a woman's wearing a dress, sometimes with a plunging neckline is awesome, but also some very high ones, just where they shape things very nicely, so you
Okay,
get
yes.
at that outline.
Yes.
But it's a suggestion. You don't actually see anything. That can be really hot and sexy. Guys, if their shirt is well fitted so that it's tight and kind of shows that they, like you said, they care about themselves, maybe work
And
out
they're
a
not too
little.
shapely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would say that for sure. Like the physique in general, the overall shape. Again for guys, that upside down triangle.
Yep.
And
Okay.
yeah. It's just I would say that. Personality, because that's when you walk into a room, all you have is looks.
Yeah.
That's all you've got.
Judging them books by their covers.
Absolutely. But personality can take a woman or a man 5 steps up in a heartbeat.
I like humor too.
Yeah. Yeah, humor goes a long way with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's
just
why I like stand-up comedy. I come away very moist.
moister than an oyster. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Me
But you
first.
didn't answer the question.
What?
Mr. Adam, what was your
Oh,
answer to
yeah.
the question?
Oh, the same question?
Yes.
So when I walk
We
into
wanna know.
if I walk into a cocktail party and I see all these men in suits and all these women in evening gowns, the first person that always jumps out to me is whoever's holding the drinks. So whoever's got the tray with the champagne, that's the first person that I am attracted to.
Oh my.
Typically, the second person I'm attracted to is whoever has hors d'oeuvres or canapes.
Oh my goodness.
If they have caviar of some sort, I am now moister than an oyster.
No smile, no nothing.
They
That's
don't need a
irrelevant.
smile. As long as they have caviar,
Big frowny face.
they can have a big frowny face as long as they give me some caviar.
Okay.
Excellent.
But if I'm looking, once I have my left handful of drink, my right handful of canapé,
You're anyone's.
I'm now a free spirit, a free love, free agent. No, I am at least right now. And I know I mentioned this to her just the other day. Any guy with a close cropped beard, I am an absolute sucker for. I have been known to accidentally to walk to a different bus stop. I have passed a bus stop to chase a guy just to get another look at the close cropped beard.
But that goes back to the maintaining your appearance,
Yeah.
taking the
Yeah.
time for
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
why not?
I want a clean. I don't like the big bushy crazy beard or like a long beard. It needs to be close and just scruffy enough to know. Yeah, that's right now. That's who I see.
That's it.
Yeah, and after that, for women, it's their ass. Absolutely, I'm an ass man.
Awesome.
Love it. And we broke MisJif.
Yes.
So
So before we go into our question of the week,
Oh,
is there anything else that you would like to tell the listeners out there about yourself or what you do or anything else at all?
no pressure. A little pressure.
You don't have to. I'm just giving you a chance.
it's funny because we were just writing our profile on.
Yeah, so we've been earlier tonight, before we started this podcast, we were trying to write our profiles for the Sex Ed in the City. And if you go to the website right now, you'll still see that there's still no profiles for any of us.
Give us a couple days.
We need a week.
Yeah.
We were dying laughing just for the fact that we were trying to write them, really.
Profiles are hard to write. Try to write 3 paragraphs about yourself that doesn't make you sound like a complete tool.
It's really like going to a dating game, really.
It's worse because I can write myself looking awesome on a dating site. I can't write myself and make myself look professional. I mean, because I look at Sex Ed in the City and I'm like, oh, I want people to trust what I say. I want people to think I have value. I want people to think I'm smart.
And all I can come up with is that I know how to knit and I know how to, I don't know, something.
I like dill pickles.
I bake.
Yeah, I like to cook. You know, I like to have sex. That should make you want to listen to me, right? That's clearly why our podcast listeners.
Is that right? Is that your qualification? I've had lots of sex.
I have had now lots of sex. It took me a few decades to get to that point. But yeah.
We'll expect to see that on your profile. So yeah.
All right. I've had lots of sex. Yeah, so go ahead.
So I think it will come up in the profile. And yes, I will reinvent myself in the profile and make myself very exciting. So that's what's coming still.
Well, I think you're exciting as it is. I mean, you're interesting and exciting, and I like that. But like I was saying, it's hard for anybody to write about themselves and not feel like a complete and total twat.
Well, you want your energy to come out in what you're writing.
And that's hard to do.
Yes.
And it's hard to do without sounding very boring.
Yes.
And just to...
Or egotistical.
Yeah.
Just to give you the kudos that I think you deserve. The classes that... Well, one of the reasons that we were excited to come up and talk to you after the first class was...
Because I had nice eyes too? No, maybe not. I had no canopies or drinks.
you had no drinks, no canapé, no hors d'oeuvres,
She did
no
have
caviar.
her breasts hanging out though.
You did have your breasts hanging out, and I was like, holy shit balls, look at those breasts. You do have very nice breasts, I just want to say.
Okay, thank you.
But it was one of the things, you have this, two things, I guess. This passion and vitality about when you present.
Is that because I don't stop talking and I don't own a watch?
A little from column A, a little from column B. But it's one of those things that
You're spot on.
When you talk, you're interesting, you're exciting, and people want to listen to what you say.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, I mean, it's not sweet; it's honest. I mean, if you want to take it as a compliment, go ahead. But I do mean it sincerely. That we were both kind of enthralled.
You have an energy about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's clear you know what you're talking about. It's clear you have experience in your 15 handjob techniques. Hashtag lucky partner. Hashtag so jealous. But that was one of the things we were like, we need to talk to this lady. And then it was one of those, as soon as we spoke to you and talked to you, even off stage, it was one of those, we have to work with her.
And that was with no caffeine. Can you imagine what caffeine could do to that?
I don't think you need caffeine, honey. No, so you stick with decaf. Do we have a question of the week?
We do.
We have a question of the week.
We have a question of the week. MisJif is going to answer it first.
Oh, okay.
If you were alone on a desert island and the only thing you could have was a perpetually charged sex toy, which would you choose and why?
Well, I'm a big, huge fan of a wand.
The Hitachi magic wand.
Yes, it really is my go-to. It's my go-to when I just want to hurry up and get the job over and done with. It's my go-to when I just want to add a little bit extra. I think it's my go-to when I want to have more than one person be able to use the toy, because the fact that it's got so many attachments. It's good for him, it's good for her, it's good for anyone. It's good for front, it's good for back, does everything. And it's got power.
Yeah.
It's got amazing power.
Do you have
It
one
does.
that's rechargeable, or do you have one of the ones that plugs straight into the wall with like 5,000 watts of power?
Yep. Go big or go home.
Oh my god. Yep. I got them all. That's fantastic. Wait, is yours waterproof? Do you use it in the shower?
Not yet. No, can't get that far.
Well, don't use the one that plugs in the shower. That's a bad thing.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
that's
very
probably
true.
not
Yes. So that's my.
All right, that's a good
that's my
choice.
go-to.
And you?
I'm tied between normally I would agree with MisJif on the wand. It is one of my, if I absolutely had to choose, that is a very strong go-to. However, I also really, really like something inside me. And so
yes.
I will say that for me, a very traditional rabbit that has the rotating beads and the vibrator on the clip part.
Yes.
I like that because it's something inside me. You get the rotating beads right at the end there, which is really kind of awesome. And then you still get the clit stimulation. And for me, the wand there's a few toys that will vibrate enough for me to squirt with. The wand is one, the rabbit's another. There's a handful of them,
And a
but
good
not
quality
all.
rabbit, though. You want a good
for
quality
sure.
one.
For sure, not a cheap one. No, you have to spend some money on that.
So we're gonna be on a desert island. I'm
But-
pretty sure you can afford a rabbit.
No, but honestly, because some of the cheaper ones, once it starts to, like one of the
Motors.
Yeah.
slows down to the
Right.
other, or once you've got it inserted, it just dies.
And the fact that we're on this desert island and you only have one sex toy just means that when you travel, you better pick a damn good sex toy to go with you. Because if you get stranded, you want it to be good.
I think I'm gonna professor it like from the Gilligan's Island and make my own
Yeah.
out of coconuts and palm trees and shit.
Is this
Like-
one of the 101 things to do with a coconut?
Yeah, exactly. Make a sex toy out of it.
Excellent. Tell me.
No, for me it would be it's funny because we've got some really nice ones. I like the beaded butt plug. I like the prostate massager that moves.
The come hither.
The come hither one. But I gotta be honest, the one that I love the best is the most recent one we got in the States, which was the Jejoue, Jejoue is the name of the brand.
Okay.
And it's just a wireless butt plug.
Oh yeah, it's
What
the
does it do?
smaller.
It's-
It's the smaller. It's got a smaller insert part than some of the bigger butt plugs are.
It's a teardrop shape though.
Yeah, but it
lays-
has a flat bit on the outside.
It's one that I could wear on the bus. It's so discreet. It's really small, but it's still got this amazing vibration to it. It's got an app that we can control, so that's fun to play with the app.
I like that.
But
part.
it's during our good vibrations class, the sex toy class. It was the one I had in the entire time the class was going on. So it is I love it. I think it's great, and it lays perfectly in the prostate. So it would be one that. But I would also need a lifetime supply of lube.
Unfortunately, that doesn't come. Sorry.
Can you?
I
get
can
that-
make
wait,
coconut oil.
Can you get that from coconuts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can make that from coconut oil. Okay, so I know we said we had one question from listeners, but I actually remembered I had a really good question messaged to us via Twitter today from his name is Kevin Costner. I don't think it's the Kevin Costner.
We like to think so, though.
But I like to imagine that Kevin
Yeah.
Costner listens to
Following
us
you.
and that he.
Because
yeah.
who doesn't like
So,
Wild World?
yeah.
I mean, come on.
But he had a question that I thought was such a great question. It said, a question for the podcast or a podcast by itself, which it could be, but we're just going to answer this really as quickly as we can. What is your best or worst sex accident or sexidents? Hashtag trademarked. So a sex accident, best or worst. I'm assuming I'm going to look at this as you or your if it's the worst, you or your partner got injured. If it's the best, you were like, holy shit, I can't believe that actually worked. We need to incorporate that into our regular play. And while you guys think about it, I will tell a story. It did not actually happen to me. But in college, when I was sitting in computer science classes, as you do, the gentleman in front of me turned around and he goes, "Oh my God, my girlfriend broke my dick." So this clearly falls into the worst, I don't want to do this all the time. But he was freaking out because they were having sex. She was on top and she came down wrong.
Not in the class, I hope.
No, God, God, I wish I'd have gone to that class more often. And that was computer science, how to make a love doll. Man, I'm going to Java all over her. God, I just nerded out a little. See, I'm sharp. That was for my nerd friends. Anyway, so basically she was on top riding him. She came down wrong, and they heard a loud snap, and it hurt to get an erection for the next 6 weeks.
Oh.
So, which is why I'm still conscious when you're on top. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a few times that I'll put my hands under you to catch you, like to.
Because you don't want to. You want to
I
make
don't.
sure. Yeah.
I don't want to break that. That's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So bad Bojo. But it's not one that happened to me, but it's a story I heard of. It was enough to affect my sex acts. I'm constantly cognizant of that. I don't remember his name. I don't remember the class. I don't remember anything about college, period.
But you still feel sorry for the dude.
But I still feel sorry for the dude. And he was like, I cried. We almost went to the doctor.
I probably would have.
I probably would have as well.
I'd go to the ER and be like, fix this, do something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But then after he actually healed, he actually said that he didn't ever get as straight as he was, that he now had a curve to the left.
He should have gone to the doctor.
I'm now thinking he may have been coming on to me. I wish I had known that. I was hearing a lot about this guy's junk.
You like the curves to the left?
I'm just going to stop it right there. I like it. I like it all. All right. So
Have you ever had any to yourself?
sex accidents? I've had, being a bottom, everybody who's ever tried to receive anal sex has had a sex accident of some sort or the other. Should I tell this story?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, so I may have been topping a guy, and I pulled out and looked down, and there was an undigested bean
Excellent.
on my junk, and that might have warped me for a very long time. In fact, so much so that I think that's pretty much the catalyst as to why now I'm really mostly a bottom.
Why? What kind of bean? That's important.
I don't know, some kind of kidney bean. It was a red kidney bean.
How much did you freak out?
I freaked out a lot. Although I kept it all on the inside.
Oh.
I didn't let him know that I was freaking out. It was okay. Sex was over, pulled out. Yeah, so that was, yeah. And then everybody's got the I need more lube story.
Right.
I mean, Lord mercy. Some people have the let's use spit lube story. Go back 3 or 4 podcasts, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. All right, MisJif.
it's my
I told 2 stories.
Do you know what? I could give you 1,000 stories. But, but I'd have to say that, yeah, I always end up especially in my younger days, in the weirdest predicaments that I just couldn't get out of. I didn't have the knowledge to get out of those. But, and this kind of goes to our next class, and I hate to say it, but, I had this vision. I'd met this guy that I'd known, and I wanted to give him the most amazing oral sex that I could, and I got there and it just didn't smell good, and there was toilet paper stuck on.
Oh God, no!
And it was just like, what do I do? Like,
oh, you send him to the bathroom and you're like, oh, sweetie, wash up. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. There was toilet paper stuck to it. Oh, so I mean, I won't lie. There's times after masturbating, you clean up and you got toilet paper stuck to it the next day. But you don't let a partner see that. Shut up, woman.
Yeah, but maybe because it was unexpected. Maybe that's that was the thing.
It's
it was
fiber.
a surprise, right?
It's more fiber. Just go ahead and swallow it. It's more fiber. It's like roughage. It's no different than kale or a bean.
So I think
Wait,
I think what's really important is that whole cleanliness thing. And we're definitely going to touch on that in our class because it is critical, guys. If you want a girl to go down on you, there's a certain level of cleanliness that I expect,
if you want
right?
anybody to go down on you, you better goddamn make sure you ain't got toilet paper stuck to your junk. Seriously. It's toilet paper.
Yes, anyway. So,
I just threw up in my mouth. That is better than any story that I actually have. I mean, I do think that one time a guy came and I had it stuck in my sinuses for like a week, but other than that, toilet paper wins.
I think MisJif wins.
And why is this toilet paper brown? Oh, I got it out of somebody's ass. Hey, sweetheart, you're not the first date tonight. What do you expect when our date starts at 11? Anyway, and Mrs. Adam, go.
I don't know that I have anything to top that. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Look, the Eiffel Tower can't top that.
So,
Make my story sound terrible.
Oh, no. You make your story sound terrible.
Ah.
no, I will say, and this is, I don't think I've even ever told Mr. Adam this.
Oh, good. I like these stories.
This is going to be exciting. But this goes back to the whole, I'm going to go back to the whole sex ed class discussion we had earlier and what you're told and not told. But my first partner that I first had sex with, we, of course, made out a lot before, for months before, and there was a lot of fingering and whatever going on. I mean, basically
That's what you
everything
do.
but sex, right?
Yes.
And I was raised, more recently I was raised in the South, and it was, a very religious area. And you don't have sex until you're married. And so there was that whole, we're going to wait till we're married thing or whatever. We're naive teenagers. And and so we were in the car one night. Yes, I lost my virginity in the car. We were in the car one night, and it was that whole, we were making out. I was sitting on top of him, and it was like, do we not? And I was basically on top of him, and it was like, yes, no, and then as I slid down on top of him, it was like, no, oh wait, you're already inside of me. Yes, we are. So that was how I lost my virginity, is, are we going to do this, yes or no?
Wait.
As I slid down on top of him.
You lost your virginity without a condom, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep, sure did.
Lost your virginity
Yep.
bareback. I was wearing 2 condoms when I lost my virginity. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was wearing your condom. That was the problem.
that was a sex accident.
Sex accident.
Yes.
You lost
I
your
like that
virginity
one.
as a sex accident.
Yeah.
The sexident.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. Oh.
And it sticks. It stays with you.
Yeah, it does.
Much like
absolutely.
a piece of
'Cause
white
it
toilet
has-
paper
'cause
on the
it was
end of
one
your
of those,
cock.
I
It
should have,
sticks.
yeah, because you should have known better. But it was like, it was that whole moral dilemma. But yet I really want it, but yet you're always told you're not supposed to do this.
Were you on
and-
birth control?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Just in
better.
case,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just in case you accidentally slipped it in. Wow.
It fell in. It fell
I
in.
mean, condoms are last second. Birth control is. I've been thinking about this for a while. Yeah. All right. That's man. We need to have her back on just for more of those stories. I mean, all right.
Great
So-
question.
I think
Great
we should have a whole
question.
Yes.
podcast of
Thank you.
MisJif stories.
Thank you, Kevin Costner, for that wonderful question. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Badass. So yes, and a huge thank you to the gorgeous MisJif.
Thank you.
I might just check.
Do we need to give her a round of applause?
I was checking her out when she put her arms up and watching her. Anyway, lovely breasts. Anyway, so you can find all 3 of us. Actually, first of all, you. You want to give your website,
Contact details.
Twitter. You want me to? Yeah. So if you wish to contact MisJif, she's kind of a technophobe, except for that wand. She loves that's once the wand was invented, she stopped going to any other technology. But if you wish to contact MisJif, you can find us, all of us, at www.sexedinthecity.com. You can follow us on Twitter, and I would encourage that because we're going to do blog post releases, classes,
Soon.
all of that will be soon. That is at Sex Ed in the City, or on the Facebooks at www.facebook.com/sexedinthecity. On the calendar on the website, the sexinthecity.com, we will start putting up where Mrs. Adam and I are going to be, where MisJif is going to be, all of our classes, if we're going to anything. So, like, for instance, we're going to be at Hellfire this weekend. So if you're at Hellfire on Friday, seek us out. You'll see us there, and if you look at the pictures, you'll know who you're looking for. So, or you can just stand in the center of the group and go, Mr. Adam, like that, and I'll find you.
Or just have a close cropped beard and he'll find you.
Oh, fuck that. Or just have breasts and she'll find you.
Yeah.
Or eyes. If you have eyes, MisJif will find you. So there you go.
Bring
if you,
them along.
If you happen to have all 3 of those, you're coming home with us that night. So follow us there. If you're looking for By the By, we are www.bytheby.com.au, on Twitter at By the By Podcast, or on the Facebooks at www.com/bytheby podcast. Oof, that's a lot of stuff in there.
That's a lot of words.
Also, I know we've said it before, we'll say it again, the next pendulum party, which we are going to coerce MisJif and her partner to be at, if at all possible, we're going to have to twist that arm, is going to be on May 19th. It's a Friday again. So if you're interested in tickets or information or whatnot, hell, email, contact any of us. We will put you in touch with the people.
Yeah, and tickets will be on sale in our secret spot soon.
Yep.
And through us soon. But
Yep.
definitely let us know. We'll get you in touch and get you a ticket to it.
Yeah.
But I will say that, we had really good response last time, and hopefully everybody who came out last time will come out again and bring their friends.
Yep.
Because it's amazing.
And if you missed it,
hush, tell me
then come and give it a try.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, all of us will be at Passion in Paradise the first week.
Yes.
I think it's October 21st through something.
19th to 23rd.
19th to, I see, we'll be there on the 21st then, won't we?
Yes.
So we'll be in Passion in Paradise. I think that's passioninparadise.com.
.au maybe.
.au maybe. If you search Passion in Paradise, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And we'll all be there, getting our nude on.
Absolutely.
Brown chicken, brown cow. That's what we used to say in Kentucky. All right, so once again, thank you, MisJif. We love you.
Yes,
Very
thank
much.
you so much.
And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.